Hello friends, I'm sitting in front of Lilac Lane right now, which is one of the Amish grocery stores that's not far from me, and I just had a little short visit with the guy who owns it in there. I like to talk to him and see what he's thinking about current events. Well, today after I asked him what he's thinking, he went back behind and he got this book called Harbinger 2 by Jonathan Cahn. Now it's also got The Return here. Now I read the first Harbinger book back whenever it first came out, which, you know, could be like 12 years ago. I'm not exactly sure how long, 10 to 12 years ago at least. So this book really obviously made a very big impression on him because he ordered a case of them, and I offered to pay him for it. I mean, but he wanted to give it to me, and I offered to bring it back. He said, I can if I want. If I have somebody else who I can give it to, then I can just pass it on. So he's wanting to get the word out about the second coming of Jesus and what all the things in the world going on right now is leading to. And from here, I'm going to drive on down the road and go visit another couple who we used to buy eggs from every week. We would buy, you know, like 100 dozen eggs and take them to the market and sell them to our customers up there. And they're it's kind of funny. I see them as young, but they're getting middle-aged now. Their children are all still at home, but they're in their 40s, which I guess is approaching middle age. So I'm going to go see what they think, if they're home. I hope they're home, so I can get a little talk to them.
I used to live in the country on a high lonesome hill, crow by day, by night the whippoorwill. I used to live in the country on a high lonesome hill, crow by day, by night the whippoorwill. But I'm satisfied, tickled too.
As I'm approaching their driveway, I look off to the right, which is where I'm going, and I'm shocked out of my gourd because they have built a house since I was here last. They have just been living in a basement house for years and had like 6 or 7 children still in that basement house. And lo and behold, looks like they're just in the process of building it. Right down there is the entrance to their house. Well, I had a nice visit with her. We used to visit quite a bit whenever I would come over here and get eggs. Her husband never came in. He's out in the barn this way grinding grain, I guess probably corn. They raise a lot of hogs, and we also get half a pig from them about every winter. Last winter we got 2 halves, 2 separate times. And so, well, she didn't really have much opinion on current affairs. She was not aware that her brother-in-law was interested in this book that he gave me. She'd never heard of it before. So I think whenever I get through reading the book, I'll give it to them and they can read it and just pass the word around and see what Jonathan Cahn has to tell us about what the Lord's shown him about these days that we have ahead of us and the end times in general. So I just passed up my road. I got to turn around and go back the other way because the next place I'm going. Well, the next place I'm going is Mast Greenhouse. And they do a lot of supplying for produce growers. They have potting soil and all kinds of things. And what I need today is some black plastic mulch and drip tape. So I'm going to go in there, and it's the problem right now is that it's lunchtime. So I don't know if they're going to be free to visit or not. Okay, well, better put my seatbelt on or I'll be dinged at. I got my visit off with the man at Mast's Greenhouse. I guess I won't really say his name, but doesn't matter. He's never going to see this, but somebody might tell him that I talked about him. And so we bought, let me see, you can see back there, we bought some black plastic mulch and a roll of drip tape from there. And so he's still concerned about the digital currency world. I talked to him like last fall, but he said, what can you do? There's nothing you can do, and there's no other country that's going to be any better, because it's going to be worldwide when it happens. And his overall feeling that I got from him is that we need to not live in fear. We need to trust God to take care of his people. But he is also convinced that just because we trust God and we know that God will take care of us doesn't mean that we won't have to go through hard things. I mean, they have a whole book of martyrs that they study. And they know that, especially if you're a Christian in history, you have had hard times and hard ways to go. And Christians and religious groups are very vulnerable to persecution. So we just have to keep plugging along and not live in fear and trust God to work it all out, and keep living our life the way we live it every other year. So now I'm approaching Muddy Creek Greenhouse. This is just down the road from the other. These two men who own this are actually brothers. And this is where I'm going to go in and order onions. And I was at the other place for close to half an hour, so we'll see whether anybody's in here or I have to wait for them to see me and come in over here from their house at lunchtime. Well, I had a nice long talk with that man. He was in the mood to talk. So he's been having a little bit of trouble with he does sometimes.
We don't wear them and they give them to me.
Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing.
It's for summer.
Yeah, he'll probably wear that.
We don't wear them, and they sent them to me, and I was like, what am I going to do with them? I guess I have to give them to somebody else.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, David. Well, I got interrupted because he was coming out his door and waving me to stop, and he gave me a cap. It's from Proven Winner. It's a company that they get their plants from, and he said that they don't wear caps like that, and they always get them sent. So he gave it to old guy. So old guy gets a new cap. Anyway, he's been having a little bit of issues with getting his mail orders on time. He said he had 3 different mail orders of seeds that he knew were shipped, but they took 3 weeks to get to him. And he hasn't really suffered much shortage of anything. But I failed to mention after I left the other guy's house, the Mast's Greenhouse place, that I asked him about seed shortage, if he's seen anything, because they buy large amounts of seeds and repackage them for sale at his store. And he said nobody has told him that there weren't any. His order is later than normal, but they haven't told him that they didn't have anything. If they do, then it's a surprise to him still. He believes that there is just a fear ramped up about a shortage of seeds caused by the people, by misinformation from people, because he doesn't know anything for sure, but it's his opinion as a retail person that there's not a shortage of seeds at this time. So there's that part. As far as this last place I went, I mentioned the book, The Harbinger, too, that the first guy had told me about. And, well, he had gotten that book from the same man I did. He'd gotten one, but he's not, well, the last man I went to, he is a skeptic at heart, and he's not going to believe just what anybody says. He's going to want to test it with his own understanding and what he already knows about other things. So he was kind of skeptical about the things that Jonathan Cahn was saying in that book, and not ready to believe it very much at this point. He said, and also there's what he's read so far of the book, he hasn't seen that much different than what he, as an Amish man, has grown up his whole life hearing, that the Lord's coming back and be ready. So except for nitty-gritty details, I think he just says it's nothing new on that book. I'm going to read it and see what I think. So basically what I gleaned from my visit of the 4 Amish places that I visited today, they're concerned, but they are choosing not to be afraid. And they believe that fear hinders us. They believe that we need to trust God to show us the way, to protect us, and that whatever happens, even if there are hard times, that we are in the hands of God and not ultimately in the hands of somebody who can kill our bodies, but not our souls, because our souls belong to God. So that's about all for the day. It's time for me to get back home and get old guy some lunch. And I appreciate you staying with me, and I'll see you next time.